I believe that if you're not learning, you're dying inside. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. I think so many people, once they graduate school, they shut the door to learning. But especially in healthcare, we are in a profession where we must always be learning. In fact, when we graduate from school, we have so much more to learn afterwards. Hey, healthcare providers, you're listening to the Burnt Out to Lit Up podcast. Hosted by myself, Erica, and my husband, Michael. We're an OTPT team that understands the healthcare industry's got some serious issues.
Inspired by our own experience with burnout, we've made it our mission and passion to help you navigate your career in healthcare by cultivating wellness, growing both personally and professionally, and advocating for a better workplace.
Whether you are a clinician or manager, new grad or seasoned vet, join us each week as we share interviews, research, stories, and strategies that will give you the tools to go from burnt out to your most lit up self.
Let's dive in. So I saw this meme on Imgur, because Imgur is like my favorite place on the internet.
Wait, welcome to the Burnt Out to Lit Up podcast.
Hey, it's our podcast.
Okay, go.
So I saw this meme. You know how like people make fun of Jaden Smith on the internet?
Is that Will Smith's son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he's like kind of dumb and he like posts dumb stuff. I saw a meme with him and it's like his face, and it was like, first you learn to read, then you read to learn, and his face is like, what? It's funny. Yeah.
First you read.
He actually has really like, for a while there he had like really like dumb tweets. Because he's like a teenager. Like, imagine if you were a teenager, like, growing up and, like, being dumb.
I can't imagine if I were
having social media.
A preteen or a teenager with the social media we have now.
Not even just having the social media, but also, like, having the following that Jaden Smith does have.
Jose.
So, yeah. So, he has some pretty funny, like, old tweets if he hasn't taken them down.
When we were that age, I had an embarrassing bio on my AIM or AOL.
Your MySpace.
Oh, yeah. Well, MySpace...
I didn't even have a MySpace. I wasn't cool enough.
You didn't have a MySpace?
No. I never had a MySpace.
Oh, I had one for sure.
You would. You loser.
But I don't think you could... I don't remember, like...
MySpace was awful. I remember, like, seeing those awful pages with, like, the background that would stay stationary and everything else would, like, scroll. And, like, all of them would... like, there'd be, like, music that plays right away as soon as you go onto it.
If you could set it, you could set it that way. Actually, when Facebook came out, I actually didn't like it, and I didn't want to sign up for it because you couldn't customize it the way you could MySpace. Mm-hmm. That was my thinking back then.
Didn't the founder of MySpace, like, once he stopped doing that, he like went on and did something that... What is he doing now?
I think he's a photographer. Oh, I'm pretty sure he does that.
Okay, I thought he started some other tech company.
Maybe he did, but I know if you find him on Instagram, I wish I had my phone on me, but it's charging. I think he does that photography around the world. Oh. I think he just like went off, on the deep end.
I mean, I would have.
Yeah.
I created like the most popular. He created the first social media, really.
Probably. Yeah. I guess you could say that.
I mean.
Yeah.
Probably stupid rich.
I'm not sure.
You don't know? All right.
Probably. I mean, I haven't thought about MySpace in forever. I did come across this Instagram page, something like the first part of it, I don't remember the name, but something like 2000s, and they repost things from the early 2000s, and it's really a special page. There's like Lizzie McGuire, Mary-Kate and Ashley. Like when I was around 12, 13, that was like early 2000s, and it was a very special time. Needless to say,
it was special, definitely special, because it wasn't quite 90s, but it's not quite like modern life.
It was a transition.
Yeah,
many transitional things during that time.
But it's like, I remember the early 2000s because I mean, we were in high school. And it's
no,
like,
not high. We weren't in high school yet.
2003. I was a freshman.
I was. Oh, because you're a year older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't remember it feeling 90s, but I guess you don't really feel that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I was embarrassed if my socks went above my ankles. They had to be really low.
That's true.
Yeah.
I had to have really baggy shorts.
Like, that was a thing. I know that's a thing. I've seen pictures.
Yeah. They could not be, like, my knees couldn't even be remotely showing. I was like, no way. No.
My ankles had to be showing anything that was a little bit higher.
Yeah, no sock.
Yeah, you couldn't have like socks that showed.
Sock game had to be like real short.
Yep, and dude, it's so funny how certain things have come back in style.
Because now shorts can be short and socks can be long.
Socks can be long. Certain brands that were really popular in the 90s, like Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren. I mean,
You think they're gonna bring back UFO pants?
you told me about this once. I think I know what they are.
Oh, you didn't have UFO pants?
Weren't they?
No, not. I mean, girls wore them too.
Oh, like Britney Spears wore them, I think.
Yeah.
Aren't they baggy with many pockets?
And you
oh,
can
boy.
you can kind of like tuck them up, and they have these like strings that come out of the pockets, and they were like cool to like flop around.
No, didn't have that.
So
I was
dumb.
too girly.
The dumbest.
I had silver pants. They weren't denim. They were another material, but they wore like a pair of jeans, but they were like a metallic silver. And I remember wearing that with a metallic like felt velvety silver top with butterflies.
Metallic felt.
I can't even. From Limited 2 was my favorite. Like everything I owned came from the Limited 2.
Did you have anything that was bedazzled?
For sure.
I remember a music video with Beyonce. I don't know if it was Destiny's Child or something, but she had bedazzled jeans, and on the butt it said "juicy."
Oh my god.
It's just like, can you imagine that being in like a mainstream music video right now?
I had tube tops
stupid.
that said Bratty and stuff like that.
You're still bratty. You should wear that.
I'm
currently.
still Bratty.
What are we talking about?
Learning.
This episode. It's about learning.
It's about learning, a culture of learning at work.
Yeah.
And I have
cultivating a culture of learning at work.
Yeah, I've been a part of organizations or indirectly just knowing friends, a part of organizations that where it's either one or the other, where there is a strong culture of learning, and there's these organizations bring in-house continuing ed courses, or they supply their therapists or healthcare professional workers with information on courses, and they go to courses together, or there's like different incentives. And then on the other end of that, organizations where everyone's on their own, there's this absence of a culture of learning, and there it has been shown that culture of learning increases engagement. There's a whole thing on that from Bridge. Bridge is a company that, okay, I have to look it up because
I know who they are. Don't they do like studies on
yes
on this kind of stuff?
Bridge has an ebook from the Bridge has an ebook, right, called Create a Culture of Learning. Oh my god, I got tongue tied. But Bridge,
take a breath.
I need to breathe, guys. Okay.
Learn with Bridge API. What is that?
I'm trying to head over to the main Bridge site. I don't know what this is.
It's fine. It's not super important.
But anyway, yeah, get Bridge. That's just they have a free ebook which inspired this article, and other things inspired this article, like my partnership with Medbridge. And what I've learned, I knew this always, hence the reason why I pursued my master's, and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So like, I love learning, and I remember being in grad school, and although I knew it was difficult and it wasn't always easy, I loved learning. I never wanted to graduate because I loved studying, and now I know that like you should always be a student for life. You should always be, especially in healthcare, there's always so much to learn, and having a culture of learning at work, like you don't just graduate with your degree and you're done learning. It's just, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I think for a while I resented the fact that when I graduated from school, I didn't know everything. And it kind of like made me very frustrated to treat patients and have them tell me things that I didn't know how to fix. And I was like, man, like this is ridiculous. I just spent all this time and all this money, and now I don't know how to like fix some people. But it's like, it's true. It's like there's too many things for you to know as a healthcare provider. and making sure that you're keeping up with the latest stuff is like a great way to not only keep your patients well, but to keep you kind of from burning out, because you're going to be happy with where you are and what you're doing and how you're helping people. So
if you're not learning, I think this is pretty extreme, but if you're not making an effort to learn, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. There is no in between. If you're not making an effort to learn, I feel like a part of you is dying. If you're settling for where you are, and this can be in any aspect, it could be clinically, it could be in your personal life, in your intellectual stimulation, like learning a new language or learning how to crochet, or
that's true. I guess it doesn't have to be healthcare.
It doesn't
related.
have to just be related to your job, but if you are dedicating yourself to a lifelong adventure journey of learning, although this podcast will pertain to creating that for work, but just being a student of life and always dedicating yourself to learning something, having some realistic goals, having some timelines, and something that really excites you.
Yeah. So
let's get on
your
into
learn
the
on.
episode. Mm-hmm.
We have awesome guests today. They're us.
They're us, guys. It's just us.
Super
Yay.
smart people. All right, cool. Enjoy.
Are you obsessed with learning like I am? I've been obsessed with learning ever since I was a kid. I've loved school ever since I was little, except for high school, because high school, I was a little rebellious and I didn't do so well. But besides that, in college and grad school, and now, I've loved learning. I believe that if you're not learning, you're dying inside. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not making plans to move forward, then you're moving backwards. I think so many people, once they graduate school, they shut the door to learning. Not everyone, but some people, they're tired of school. They just want to work and have a normal work life. But especially in healthcare, we are in a profession where we must always be learning. In fact, when we graduate from school, we have so much more to learn afterwards. So it kind of hurts me. It really hurts me when I see healthcare professionals that don't take their learning seriously. If you're not in healthcare, there's something that we have to do to maintain our licensure that's called continuing education units. In other healthcare professions, it may be called something different, but essentially we have to maintain a certain amount of units every few years so that we can maintain our license. So there's so many different types of opportunities for learning, but unfortunately, some people will save the courses until the very last minute. They'll try to find the cheapest, quickest, easiest courses and then be done with it. So dedicating yourself to learning is important, and not just you personally, but professionally. And since I'm obsessed with learning, I didn't want to graduate from grad school. I wanted to study forever. Not that I wasn't excited to start working in the real world, but that's how much I just love books and learning. And so this episode is about 5 ways that you can cultivate a culture of learning at work. So regardless of your position at work, whether you are an employee, you're a supervisor, you're a manager, whatever your position is, I think that we can all be leaders. We can all role model the desired behavior that we want others around us to demonstrate. And regardless of where we are, we can be leaders. So if you're thinking, well, I don't quite know, it's not really my place, and if you've identified that your facility is kind of stuck and no one's really pushing each other to take exciting courses, to work on their professional development, then you can bring these ideas into the workplace and make a difference. Because, like I said, I believe that we are all leaders. So the first thing that you can do is invest in high quality CEUs. So I touched upon that a little bit. And nowadays, it's so much easier to find high quality CEUs that aren't going to break your bank. So a great example of that is Medbridge. They are a subscription-based online continuing education platform. Now, I'm obsessed with them because they have all the eggs in the basket. I was going to say another one, but I couldn't think of it. But they've killed many birds with one stone, right? Because they are high quality. They have instructors from all across the country, different professors, different leaders in healthcare. So they have great instructors, and it's a subscription-based service. So it's one payment for 12 months. So not only is it high quality, but it's affordable, and it's so easy to navigate, right? Because they have an online library, so you can find courses that are aligned with your state and your profession. So finding courses that are approved in your state. And they have a huge library. So they make it really easy for you to find different courses, many different categories that can fulfill your unique learning needs, but in one place. If you are an occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech language pathologist, nurse, athletic trainer, you can go to my episode notes or the show notes, and you can find a code Joy Energy Time. You can use that at checkout if you are purchasing your Medbridge subscription, and you can save $175. So that's a nice chunk of money that you can save. So with that being said, the first one, a recap, invest in high quality CEUs. The second point is implement intimate and frequent trainings. So let's say you're an employee and you have been talking to your fellow coworkers, or you've identified there's a gap somewhere. You could bring up to your manager, it would be great if we could have this sort of training on site. And trainings, workshops, etc., it doesn't always have to be this big production once a year type of thing. It could be small, intimate, ongoing sorts of things. So a series of trainings or workshops, or something once in a while that can be implemented, that can help with hard skills. So that would include clinical skills, evidence-based interventions and trainings, or soft skills like communication skills, coping skills, time management, or as you know, I like to say self-management skills. So think about what your team is lacking, where's the gap in that, and always presenting to your employer some evidence, if you can find some, especially to strengthen your argument of why your team can benefit from this training. The third one is to think outside the box. So in order to decrease turnover rates and maintain tenure, think about work-life integration. I hate the term work-life balance. I think I haven't heard people say that in a while. I like work-life integration because work is a part of your life, and you can't separate the two entities. So some questions to help you think about this are, when was the last time you brought stress home from work? When was the last time you brought stress from home to work, or vice versa? Does an inability to fully rest and recover during my off time impact my energy and my productivity at work? If things are going great at work, how does that impact my personal life, and vice versa? So things that are going on at home or work usually tend to have an impact on you when you're wherever you are. So if you're at home, you're experiencing stressors, and you're most likely going to bring that with you to work. And likewise, if you're experiencing high stress at work, you're most likely going to bring that home with you. So although your work may not be able to provide you with everything you may need that is going to support your well-being, you can ask yourself, well, what trainings, what sorts of workshops can help support my well-being that are directly going to have an impact on my performance at work. So according to one study by Panagiotis, I'm going to butcher that name, in 2018, investments in organizational strategies to monitor and improve wellness in healthcare professionals and therefore improve patient outcomes is needed. So interventions that are geared towards improving the whole culture of your work, and as we know, building a strong culture of learning and supporting the wellness of individual employees has been shown to, well, it's been recommended that it should be supported and funded by the healthcare organization. So what are some things that some ideas that you can bring to your workplace? You can brainstorm with your coworkers, and this can be really fun for you guys. Brainstorm and think about what are some wellness initiatives that can be implemented. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant or fancy or expensive, but to support a culture of learning, supporting the wellness needs of employees and your team is going to enhance motivation, decrease turnover, and you're going to feel good at work. So I have a little freebie, 10 workplace wellness ideas in healthcare for little to no cost that you can download to help get you started, because there are a ton of ideas out there and they may not all stick, or they may be too out of reach cost-wise. So starting with 10 workplace wellness ideas can get you going. That is also in the episode notes and the show notes. Number 4 is invest in each other. So typically, depending on the setting you're in, we engage in interdisciplinary interactions on a regular basis. I remember always having to communicate with the physical therapist or the speech language pathologist, an outpatient. But if you're an inpatient, you could be communicating with physicians, nurses, respiratory therapists, social workers, many different people. Even at the intradisciplinary level, so when you're talking to other people within your profession, we can bump heads. And as a result, there could be ineffective communication, and there's consequences that come from that. Over time, what that can lead to is increased tension, poor relationships, and that's not good because you spend a lot of time at work, and these people, you want to be helping them just like you hope that they can help you. So invest in growing together. I know that you're not always going to get along and like the people you work with. It's not always about being BFFs with everyone at work, because that's not realistic. Sometimes you just have to work with people you really don't like. But since we do spend a lot of time there, it makes sense to make those relationships and your communication matter. So how can you foster meaningful interactions that can enhance overall team morale? This can be done even for contracted employees, per diem employees that don't have set hours. I can recall being a per diem employee. Everyone's going in and out, and it was really difficult for us to develop that sense of team, because I worked somewhere where everyone was great and nice and sweet, but we were all contracted. So there was this, like I said, in and out that was happening a lot. But you can find ways to build better communication and that team spirit for anyone. So be a leader and invest the time and energy to learn about each other. And you can start by learning about each other's appreciation languages. So this could be something that you can approach your manager with. Vanessa Van Edwards has some great resources for that, where you can take a quiz and learn about your appreciation language. So having the team take the quiz, so everyone can get familiar with how they like to be appreciated, how they like to receive recognition, it can be helpful because not everyone receives or likes to receive appreciation in the same way. And a little bit of effort goes a long way. So like I said, even if you don't see those per diem employees every day, you can still do little things that can help people feel like they belong. The last one is build trust and leadership from the ground up. So obviously you can't build a sturdy house on a sand foundation. If there's a lot of cleaning up to do at your work, it's best to address first the basic and individual needs before you can even focus on other needs. So this episode, there's a lot of goodies because I have yet another free download for you. And this is a 12-question survey download that breaks down the 4 type of work needs that are needed to foster engagement. So that includes basic needs, individual needs, teamwork needs, and growth needs. And this survey can serve as the basis of how it can basically serve as a way to shape cultural expectations in your organization. So I received a lot of information from Gallup. Gallup is a great resource, and they have a whole free report which influenced this free download because these 12-question survey questions came from Gallup. If you can't say yes, if you can't answer yes to any of those questions, it may be putting you at risk for not just being disengaged at work, but it could put you at risk for being totally actively disengaged because maybe many of those needs at work aren't being met. You're not sure what's expected of you. You haven't received feedback in the last 6 months. It's a really great and easy way to identify, wow, that really hasn't happened in a while. Or yes, I do receive social support from my team, my coworkers every day. So another free, easy download. The 2 downloads that I mentioned in this episode, they're really simple and easy. They're not a whole book. They're 1 to 2 pages max. And building trust and leadership from the ground up, it's about making sure that everyone's needs are being met and everyone at work can feel like they're contributing meaningful work, that they are appreciated. There is trust, there is strong leadership, and there's engagement. So bringing it back to the beginning, so bringing this in full circle, engagement can be fostered by having a culture of learning. So to sum it up, if you're not learning, you're dying. Sorry, guys. And you can start your subscription to Medbridge. You can save $175. Again, that's a big chunk of money to save by using the code JOYENERGYTIME at checkout, or you could use the link that we have in the episode and show notes, and you have your free downloads. I hope this short and sweet episode helped to turn your wheels about taking learning seriously and making a game plan. Okay, what sorts of things do I need at work? What sorts of things are going to support my professional development? What sorts of things are going to support us as a team at work? How can we improve our communications? So thinking about the different things that go into making you successful at work, and then going from there, finding courses, finding interventions or trainings, or even research articles that you can bring to your work. Having a journal club, super nerdy but fun. Having a journal club. There's some more ideas in the freebie on workplace wellness that you could do for little to no cost. So with that being said, get learning, and I'll talk to you later.